Hello and welcome to People, Politics and Power on Africa Independent Television, AIT. I am Odion Bello, your anchor on the program. Today we shall focus on Nigeria's one-time ruling party, the People's Democratic Party. For 14 months things were falling apart and the party was on the verge of extinction when ray of hope came from the judiciary. The Supreme Court last week pointed the way forward when it ruled that the Ahmed McCarthy-led caretaker committee remains the legal and authentic group that has the instrument of leadership of the party. And so with the leverage given to Ahmed McCarthy and his group, many political watchers believe that the real politicking has now begun. At last, Nigeria now has a veritable opposition party, which is one of the components of democracy. Now, will the PDP be alive to its role as a strong opposition to the ruling All Progressives Congress? Has Sheriff given up? These are some of the issues that we will touch on the program People, Politics and Power. You're welcome.
Is the united, indissoluble and cohesive Nigeria which guarantees equity, fairness, justice and prosperity for its citizens. That is our focus on People, Politics and Power. It is fresh, insightful, impactful. It's a must-watch. People, Politics and Power on AIT. Join us to build.
Before we unmask the big masquerade in the studio, let us look at the issues that have cropped up as PDP heaves a sigh of relief in the last few days.
It's the first time the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is holding a meeting of this magnitude after the Supreme Court gave judgment in favor of the National Caretaker Committee. And after a series of meetings of the expanded caucus, Board of Trustees, the National Caretaker Committee, the National Executive Council of the PDP issued a 4-point resolution. The resolutions are the removal of all caretaker committee members set up by Ali Modu Sharif in Delta State, affirmation of leadership of the party in Jigawa and Benue States, setting up of a disciplinary and reconciliation committee, as well as set a date for a special non-elective convention.
So there will be a non-elective special convention will be convened in Abuja on August 12th, 2017.
The party reached the decision to hold a special non-elective convention after due consultations and to avoid another leadership crisis as the caretaker committee tenure will expire on August 17, 2017.
Taking into account the requisite statutory notice that we need to give to INEC and the requirements of the PPP Constitution 2012 as amended, practically it is going to be impossible to have an elective national convention before August 16 because we need to give certain statutory notices to INEC. Our own constitution has some important provisions that we need to meet, and there is no time to meet up with those provisions.
The non-elective convention is to hold in Abuja, the Nigerian capital.
Recall, very distinguished party members, that this country must be reminded that it is this party, under the auspices of the G34, that laid the foundation for our present democracy. And when President Obasanjo took office, our party identified the fight against corruption as a directive principle and set up EFCC and ICPC. Besides that, there's no other legislative framework that is in existence in Nigeria for the fight against corruption. So that credit to fight corruption must be given to PDP. The PDP revolutionized ICT in this country and put Nigeria on the map. And I believe that nothing has changed since then. Not one thing has been added in the ICT sector beyond what the PDP achieved. Today, everybody has access to GCM. It must be courtesy of PDP. So we've done a lot for this country that must be acknowledged. And when we assemble such as this, we must remind ourselves of our rich history and our accomplishments for Nigeria. No matter what any person says, when we put on the scale, we believe that
now, for the People's Democratic Party, it has been a tortuous journey that has at least yielded some positive dividends. Well, I now have joining me on the program the National Publicity Secretary of PDP Caretaker Committee, Dayo Adeyeye. Prince, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me on this program.
At least we are having you for the first time now since the Supreme Court judgment.
Yeah.
So permit us to say congratulations.
Thank you very much, and I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to you for your support while the struggle lasted. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, what is the situation in the PDP now after the Supreme Court's judgment, structurally and administratively?
The situation is that we are back to normalcy. We have taken a series of decisions, as I saw in your report, particularly yesterday by the neck of the party, to restore normalcy fully to the party in the state branches where chaos was created by Sheriff and his group. We are going to restore normalcy there. And in order to provide full legal basis for the continuation of the work of the National Caretaker Committee, we are going to have a special national convention on August 12, 2017. By and large, we are at peace with ourselves now. Things are back to normal, and we are really prepared for our role as the main opposition party in Nigeria.
One of the developments within the party now is what you call non-elective national convention. What makes it non-elective?
Non-elective is that we are not going to be electing national officers at the convention. You can hold conventions if, either to elect officers when their term have expired, or sometimes mid-term or at any point in time. Because the National Convention is the supreme organ of the party. It has total supreme powers over the affairs of the party. So sometimes you can convene a national convention just to take a particular decision which can only be taken by the National Convention. And so these are provided for in our constitution, and I believe in the constitution of most political parties, not only in this country but everywhere else in the world. So we are going to have a national convention for a particular purpose. Because ordinarily we are supposed to, we should have had an elective national convention to bring in substantive national officers. Yes. But we do not have the time we do not have enough time to do that legally and constitutionally. Because for you to have an elective national convention, you have some notices that have to be given to INEC and number of days. Already we are short of the number of days, and people can go and challenge that. Again, within the provisions of our own constitution, certain things have to be done, and they have to be done within particular times. And if you calculate the times now, from now to August 16, it's absolutely impossible to meet up with those statutory time, the statutory time required to effect all those things. So because of that, we took the decision to have a non-elective national convention, which does not require too much notices or all those things. It's just to come and take a particular decision. But where it's going to be elective, there are a lot of conditions attached.
Okay. Now, Senator Ahmed McCarthy said no victor, no vanquished. A governor said there is victor, there is vanquished, a PDP governor. So that's why I'll be asking you this question. What is the fate of Alimodu Sheriff? Is it true that a disciplinary committee is to be set up for him?
A disciplinary committee has been, we have been authorized by the NEC yesterday to set up both a disciplinary committee and also a reconciliation committee. They are not set up for individuals or particular people. Okay. They are standing committees. Normally, we ought to, under our constitution, we ought to have disciplinary committee and there are reconciliation committees. So we are the reconciliation committee that has just been not dissolved, but members have recused themselves from continuing further in their role. They think that at this point in time there should be a new committee entirely. So it's just the normal course of things. We're just in the normal course of things, sending up standing committees. As far as Alimodu Sheriff is concerned, the position of the chairman is what the National Executive Committee has adopted. No victor, no vanquished. All our hands of fellowship is still stretched towards them. The olive branch is still stretched towards them for them to take it. And we believe that if they are true PDP members, they should come in now, embrace the olive branch, and then we work together for the progress of the party. We have made it very clear. I mentioned the issue, the word amnesty, and it was a guided statement. Assuming the offenses have been committed, you have done things against the party in the eyes of some people. For example, the governor you mentioned who said there are victors and there are vanquished, probably said that, well, of course, some people have done incalculable damage to the party, to the growth, the reputation, and stability of the party. Yeah. Oh, he felt like that. But we are saying, okay, we have declared general amnesty, no victor, no vanquish, everybody is free. But after the Supreme Court judgment, the position is that if you continue in your ways and you continue to commit crimes against the party, now that we have a standing disciplinary committee, you will be brought to book. You will be asked to appear before it, and they find you guilty. Appropriate disciplinary measures will be taken against you. That is the position. But as for today, I'm not aware of any person who has been marked down to be brought before the standing committee, which we are even yet to constitute.
Now, with this development after the Supreme Court judgment, I know the party will be doing one out of two things. It's either the people that you have seen that have contributed immense damage to the development of the party could be pushed aside, or you want to embrace them because you want to think about the number of, you want to think of the population. Figures matter a lot in politics and the emergence of political parties. So which stand are you taking? Are you going around for reconciliation and bring these people to you, or you think some people must go?
We do not believe that some people must go. Of course, there are opinions within the party, very important, from very important personalities who think that some people should be punished for their role in the entire crisis. But the general consensus, which we are able to build, arising from the NEC meeting of yesterday, is that the policy of no victor, no vanquish should be maintained. And therefore, our hands of fellowship should be stretched towards those who are willing to embrace it and come fully back into the party, to become good party members, not to come and cause trouble. Of course, if you begin any kind of problem again, you will be punished. Your appropriate disciplinary measures will be taken against you, following all the due processes. So the position is that we maintain the point, no victor, no vanquished. We will try to reconcile with as many people as possible. When the National Reconciliation Committee is set up, we expect them to do their work efficiently, to maybe travel around all the states, trying to reconcile various groups, and also at national level, try to bring everybody together. Every party needs this from time to time. Even at the best of times, when it appears that there is no problem, you always need to reconcile. Because when you are in the political arena, we throw brickbats against each other. And therefore, it's always important that we find a means of bringing people together at all times.
Okay. The program is People, Politics, and Power, and my guest is the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Caretaker Committee, Dayo Adeyeye. Now, the question and answer session continues now, and I want to know from you, what specific lessons has the party learned from this 14-month crisis?
One of the important lessons that we have learned is that we must do things in an orderly fashion. We must, what do I mean by that? It is not proper to give a high position of responsibility to somebody who is not well entrenched in the party, who has not paid his dues in the party, who have not demonstrated total commitment to the ideas and the values of the party. That's a major lesson to be learned. People do not know, we do not have to make the mistake of allowing people to just walk in and grab positions. When you do that, this is the result you will get. So that's one important lesson that I believe not only the leadership, even the followership should take away from this crisis, and it's a very important one. We must now begin to uphold our own ideas and make sure that those who believe in these ideas are the ones holding positions at any point in time. Number two is that this party must realize that going to court at the slightest provocation or disagreement will not help us. Of course, the courts are there to adjudicate between individuals, between organizations, and all that. But the party also has internal conflict resolution mechanisms that ought to be fully exhausted before you resort into going to the courts. And now we believe that that should be done. What we have in many states, in many situations that led to this crisis is that at the slightest disagreement, when you are not happy with one decision, rather than explore the internal conflict resolution mechanism of the party, people rush to court, and today we have multiplicity of suits in the courts. So this is not good, and that's the lesson we must learn. And we must begin to imbibe on our rank and file, the leadership and the rank and file, that the party is supreme, as even the Supreme Court said, and we should not, at the slightest excuse, rush to the courts. Let us begin to settle things among ourselves. Husband and wife can disagree. Will they go to court every day because of minor issues? If you do that, you cripple yourself, you cripple the family, and the family will not be able to stand. And I regard the political party as a family of like-minded people who are brought together to pursue a common objective. So why must we, at the slightest provocation, at the slightest disagreement, rush to the courts?
People, Politics and Power, that's the program. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
In 2015, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, lost power at the center and in many states to All Progressives Congress, APC. The outcome of the elections signaled the beginning of the intra-party squabbles. The first casualty was the national chairman, Adamu Muazu. The move to replace him led to litigations. After surmounting initial opposition, Senator Ali Modu Sherif, a former Borno State governor, emerged as acting national chairman.
I am happy to let you know that all the major organs in the party, the Governors Forum, the National Working Committee, the National Assembly Caucus, and the Board of Trustees, we have agreed to stand by our national chairman to ensure that our party moves forward.
A fresh underground current of friction blew open following allegations that Sherif was plotting to elongate a stay in office. What gave credence to the allegations was the suit he filed to extend his mandate till 2018. The unpleasant consequence of the move was the polarization of the PDP and the holding of parallel conventions in Abuja and Port Harcourt.
You have the younger generations that are turning around, trying to maneuver in the bush. Only the old men will know where those things will end.
The people in this hall have demonstrated that they are 100% loyal to the People's Democratic Party.
After the shocking results of the last general election in 2015, we had hoped that our leaders would have learned the serious lessons to make them resolve never again to impose candidates, never again to practice impunity.
To be the caretaker committee of the party that will run the affairs of the party and organize a convention
Several peace initiatives failed to yield fruits. Sheriff declared the Port Harcourt Convention cancelled.
There is nothing like caretaker. I remain the authentic chairman unless the laws of our land, if the courts make a pronouncement and say that Ali Sharif is not the chairman, I will obey as I always obey the laws of our land. But as of today, till the year 2018, Ali Sharif is the national chairman of PDP. If McCarthy wants to be chairman, let him wait and contest when we do a convention.
This did not enjoy the support of majority of the delegates who headed for the convention ground, sacked the National Working Committee and fixed another convention in 90 days to be conducted by a National Caretaker Committee under Senator Ahmed Makarafi.
Now moving the motion to ratify the next decision. 1, extending the tenure of the National Caretaker Committee by not more than 12 months.
The crisis snowballed into a series of litigations in many parts of the country, with the resultant effect of conflicting court orders. While a Port Harcourt High Court sacked Sheriff, another Lagos court sacked the McCarthy-led Caretaker Committee. On February 17, 2017, 2 of the 3-man panel of Court of Appeal justices declared the former Borno State Governor, Sheriff, as the authentic PDP national chairman. The judgment was challenged at the Supreme Court by the Caretaker Committee and the PDP major stakeholders. The intra-party crisis plaguing the PDP has no doubt adversely affected the fortune of the party and its cohesion. For now, it is unclear if the once ruling party in Nigeria can bounce back on the basis of the judgment of the Supreme Court.
The Nigeria of our dream, the Nigeria we know.
The program is People, Politics and Power, and my guest is Dayo Adeyeye, who is the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. We were talking about candidates. I don't know if you've heard that Buruji Kashamu just joined Mega Party this morning in, I think, in Ibadan. Did you hear that? And how, if you have not heard, I am telling you, how do you react to that?
Well, that's unfortunate. I would have expected him to grab our olive branch, which had been extended to him and all his other colleagues on the other side. But unfortunately now, it seems as if he doesn't want to take that olive branch and continue to work with, continue to remain a member of the PDP. That's quite unfortunate because we declared a policy of no victor, no vanquish, and there is nothing we have done to say that we want to victimize anybody. So it's unfortunate if he has actually left the party. I gather that he has always been an ally of Ali Modu Sheriff. Don't you think this is signifying to the fact that if not Modu Sheriff himself, some, if not many, of his allies will be leaving PDP? Well, that would be unfortunate. We have, like I said, stretch our hand of fellowship to all of them immediately after the judgment, and we expect that they will embrace it. I am encouraged by the fact that many of them have issued statements saying that they accept the judgment and they will remain in the PDP. I have personally read many of those statements. Some of them have even telephoned us. Some of them have sent text messages to us that they will remain in the party, they will accept the judgment, and they will cooperate with the leadership of the party. But of course, there will be some who will be unhappy and disgruntled and may decide not to stay in the party. It's their decision. We have not forced them out of the party. They walk out by themselves. I think the party has a big assignment on its hands because you need to do proper reconciliation because Buruji has left this one, in case this one leaves and that one leaves. I want to assure you that the party will be depleted. The party will not be depleted. This party will be growing from strength to strength. This party is so big, it remains the biggest party not only in Nigeria but in Africa. The PDP is in every nook and cranny of Nigeria. And I want to assure you that in the few months ahead, from all the signals that we have been getting since the Supreme Court judgment, there will be a mass movement into the PDP. Mark my word, there will be a mass movement into the
Prince,
PDP.
This was the
our umbrella, but our umbrella is big enough.
This was the confidence that time when Jonathan was the president.
Look, I have said that. You see, I don't want to go back to that period, but okay. I have said that we have done everything possible to assure everybody after the Supreme Court judgment that we are not victimizing anybody, that we are all friends, we are all members of the same family. Call me, let us continue to relate with each other as members of this great party. But if you decide, that is your personal decision, these people are adults. They came to the party voluntarily. And there is nothing we can do if they decide to go to hold them back. We have set up a reconciliation committee. They have not even allowed the committee to work. And some of them are leaving. There's nothing we can do about it. But I can assure you that rather than depleting, this party will grow from strength to strength. I can assure you of that. The signals are clear. Nigerians are so happy about the judgment. And many of those who are frustrated already in the ruling party are already, making signals, already making contacts on how they can come back to the PDP. And some of them were not even in PDP before. They have seen that they had no party in their place. Because really the APC is not a political party. It's an amalgam of highly disgruntled people who are desperate for power at all costs and do manage to achieve that objective in 2014. But beyond that, there's something holding them together. Not a common ideology, not a common background, nothing whatsoever. No, they don't have shared ideals. And that is why the party today is scattered. The party today cannot even hold next meeting, not to talk of holding a convention. PDP has had so many conventions, part of the crisis. So Nigerians know that this is the real party in Nigeria. There are other minor parties, including the APC. So people want to come under the big umbrella that will shield you from heavy sun and heavy rain, enough to give you comfort. And that is the PDP. And I can assure you that rather than depleting, this party will grow even bigger than ever before as in the run-up to 2019 elections. Are you
sure APC has not been holding NEC meetings?
How many times have they held NEC meetings, ruling party? When PDP was in power, even when we were not in power, you see the regularity at which we hold our NEC meetings. Go to the PDP, go APC office, whether you see live there. But come to see what data, you see live there every day. A political party, these people are not the same. They do not share the same ideas. They're not even proud of their parties. There are so many centrifugal forces pulling them apart because they were never one. It was an alliance, not a party, an alliance of ACN and so many parties coming together. And they have not been able to fuse together as one block, as one party since 2014. They still remain apart. All the centrifugal forces are still there. They still remain in their various shells, in their various blocks, not being able to fuse into one solid party. But the PDP members came in, they walked into the party individually, and there is one party. We are not in alliance with anybody.
Just this morning on Ray Power, the AMAC chief executive said, well, if you think APC has not done well, it is because of the way PDP has messed up the affairs of the country in 16. I want to get your reaction.
It's funny. You see, the APC people, for 2.5 years, I've been repeating one thing. The PDP messed up. How did the PDP mess up? Please. The PDP left, at the time we were leaving government, in 2015, we left the biggest economy in Africa. Today, I understand by rating, maybe Nigeria will go to about almost, even not among the first 10. Who did that? You campaign on the platform that you are going to improve on whatever PDP has been doing. Abi? Yes. Instead of improving on that, you came in to destroy whatever PDP was left behind. In all aspects of life, aspects of the economy, they ruined the country. Because let me tell you, the science came, you can even see this even from their plans and their policies, programs. These people unveiled only an economic recovery program 2 years after they have been in power. You have a 4-year mandate. Halfway into it, you didn't know what you are going to be doing, no program, no nothing at all. It was only 2 years into your government that you came out with an economic recovery, and you had launched it with fanfare when they should have been, when in other climes, if it's not for them to even resign from government. They had no programs at all, therefore they were rudderless, and they didn't even know what to do. Today they will say, oh, no domiciliary account, tomorrow there is domiciliary account. They will have, like a barber's share, just revolving without many movement. So this is what crippled the Nigerian economy. On all aspects, they are a complete failure. Let me tell you, even on the issue of fighting corruption, I saw one of your clips where Madu was saying, we set up the institutions that are fighting corruption today. They have not even done anything better than that. No legislative platform. They have not made any legislative initiative to improve on what PDP set up. And let me tell you, in the time of PDP, even on this issue of fighting corruption, most of the people that PDP were not, the PDP never shied away from bringing any member of the party who is suspected to have committed acts of corruption to book. A lot of PDP governors were tried by FCC while PDP was in power. But today, what do we see? Immediately you cross to APC, you become a saint. You're no longer a sinner. Even when the whole world knows that, from head to toe, the gap you are wearing is corruption. So, this is the point. It's a discriminatory fight they are fighting. And Nigerians are not deceived. And that is why nobody is taking them serious, even on the issue of corruption. And when you talk of Boko Haram, I'm amazed. Satsuki said 2 days ago that over 20 to 30 towns were recovered from Boko Haram before the elections. We are all citizens of this nation, and amnesty should not reign over all of us. Look, before March 28 elections, the former National Security Advisor asked for 6 weeks window to clear out Boko Haram, and I believe he achieved 90% of that. Because the election was then able to hold in virtually all the local governments and all the nook and crannies of Borno and Yobe states. If Boko Haram was still everywhere, how was it possible that we were able to hold free and fair elections in those places? And if Boko Haram actually was in full control, as they want to make Nigeria, they are changing the narrative, it could not have been possible to hold elections. There is no way you could have been able to elect House of Assembly, Senate, House of National Assembly, and even the governor there. I had occasion in Lagos last year why the governor of Borno State was seated to point attention to this, that how are you able to be elected if indeed Boko Haram are taking over your state? So this is not true. They think all of us, you know, we don't have memory. And they are changing the narrative. And I want to tell you, what achievement have you even recorded in the fight against insurgency? Are you saying that if PDP are remaining in power from 2015 to now, they will not even have done anything at all regarding the insurgency? You have 2 more years to clear off the whole thing. The truth of the matter is that you have not done it. Boko Haram is still there. Today we still hear of people being killed. Yesterday, people being killed everywhere in Borno and in Borno State. So the truth of the matter is that if you tell me that 2 years ago this was the station I left, are you expecting that 2 years after I will still have remained in that position? The truth of the matter is that PDP would have even done better than what they have done now. But Boko Haram caught everybody by surprise. And by the time we got grip of the matter, imported ammunition, we were able to virtually wipe them off before we left government. Their inability to seize in on the initiative that we left behind was what allowed Boko Haram to regroup and come back again. And that's what they are now fighting. So as far as I am concerned, when it comes to the issue of insurgency, fight against insurgency, the APC, I will not give them a pass mark. But propaganda, they are push propaganda into the mind of everybody that they have done this, they have done that, because that's the only thing they can hold on to. But the truth of the matter is that they are a complete failure even in that aspect. So I don't know which area they can really point to in which they have achieved anything. By the time Jonathan was leaving government, PDP was leaving government, exchange rate in this country was $1.70 to $1. What is the exchange rate today? And if you want to talk about the fact that the price of oil had gone down, 1 year to the end of that administration, the price of oil had gone down completely. So it is just their inefficiency. The fact that they do not have any program. The fact that they are not even united enough to be able to agree on what to do to save the country. And that is why this country in 2019 must return PDP to power if we want economic prosperity and political stability. And let me tell you, on the PDP time, were you hearing of the structuring of a breakaway of Biafra, of all these things? Because at that point in time, there was an exclusive government. The PDP is a big family. Every Nigerian is in that party. And so we can talk, and nobody felt marginalized. But when you have a government that wants to marginalize some people, exclude some people from governance, are considering power in the hand of your people, then we begin to see these agitations. So today, we have all sorts of centrifugal forces pulling the nation apart. Everybody is shouting. Some people want to leave the country. Some people want to... These things were managed by PDP for 16 years. Please give PDP a credit. I'm happy that we can now see the alternative. Nigerians should be able to see, are now able to see the alternative. And when it comes to, and because of frustration in the economic arena also, when people are frustrated, they can't even feed their family, they can't pay the school fees of their children, things are so bad that is unemployment everywhere, factories have closed down. How do you expect people to be happy in that kind of federation? So people are looking for any way to tear everything apart. So the APC government has been a monumental disaster for Nigeria. No matter the level of propaganda, Nigerians are not fools. And you will see in 2019, the run up to 2019, this issue matters will be brought to clear relief. Nigerians will be able to see clearly which government has performed and which one has not performed.
I want to bring in here Retired General Olusegun Obasanjo, who served 2 terms as president of Nigeria, and I think a former member, yes, a former member of the PDP. Now the PDP is bouncing back. We want to believe that. Think you still need the services?
Chief Olusegun Obasanjo performed creditably, was a PDP president, and I believe that he performed excellently while he was president. His performance is not comparable to what we are seeing now. So we are proud of him, and if he wants to come back, of course, the doors are open for him to come in. It's his party. He's the first elected president under the PDP. So he's welcome back.
Now, I want to know from you, now at this stage of People's Democratic Party, can you give us some salient areas that you think you can perform creditably and differently from the APC?
Virtually in all areas.
Unemployment,
on the economy. On the economy, let me tell you, on the economy, the PDP performed excellently in 16 years. Ask civil servants, what was their take-home pay prior to 1999? University lecturers and all that, all those groups. Ask them what was their take-home pay. PDP increased the take-home pay of civil servants more than 3 times. Standard of living improved considerably. Minimum wage increased in this country. And there was a lot of employment of people, both at state and federal levels. So the economy was growing at a very rapid rate, such that before PDP came in, we were less than number 10 in Nigeria, in Africa. By the time the PDP government was leaving, it was number 1. I don't know what indices people want to use again when they say PDP ruined the economy. How? How did PDP ruin the economy? After growing the economy to become number 1 in Africa, to even overtake South Africa, Nigeria became the number 1 investment destination in Africa. Today, did you read the report last week? Nigeria is not even among the first 10 investment destinations in Africa anymore. So, in the area of the economy, PDP can do better than APC. When it comes to political stability, and that is most important, because without political stability and peace, we cannot even grow, we cannot even think of the economy. Yeah. Now, for 16 solid years, there was political stability in this country. Democracy was nurtured. Prior to that, Nigeria never experienced even up to 6 or 7 years of uninterrupted democratic experiment. Yeah. PDP was able to manage the situation in which today we are still enjoying democracy 18 years after. If it had been this APC with the attitude, everything would have scattered, I assure you. And people must regard these things as very, very crucial and very important. The fact that we are still able to maintain democracy, maintain this democracy, that we are still united as a country, that everybody has come to accept democracy as the norm in Nigeria, as given, that we cannot afford military dictatorship anymore, is due to the PDP. Because the PDP as a party did not exclude any group of Nigerians from membership. Everybody in Nigeria felt at home within the PDP. And once you can feel at home within that party, the level of agitation, the level of worry, the level of feeling marginalized, we considerably reduced. And that has been the magic for PDP in terms of political power. And now the umbrella is still wide open there. We want to embrace more people to come in, and I want to believe that rather than all this agitation, you see tension will be doused again once we come back to power. And when you go to fight against insurgency, I tell you that in 6 weeks, almost a miracle was performed in the Northeast. That was never sustained by APC. And 2 years after, we are still battling with this problem.
I'm blaming PDP.
I'm blaming PDP for it. Even when some of the equipment they are still using were the ones purchased by PDP. So that's what we can even do better. But look at even the most critical pattern. I forgot to mention it the other time. When it comes to security, it's not only the issue of Boko Haram. Look at herdsmen menace. Yes. Did you hear of that during the PDP era? Herdsmen menace. It is arguable, and I stand to be corrected, whether herdsmen have not even killed more people than Boko Haram, because the attack is everywhere in the country. Only yesterday it was 37 people again in Southern Kaduna. That area alone, in the last 1 or 2 years, maybe more than 1,000 people probably have been killed. It's the same thing in Benue. The same thing everywhere in the country. So it is arguable whether the S-men have not even considered more greater menace to the security of this country than even Boko Haram. It's arguable. But the truth of the matter is that Nigerians do not feel secure. There is no security in the country. There is no security at all. S-men are everywhere. Yesterday, there was commotion in the secretariat in the federal capital here when S-men invaded the secretariat with their cattle.
Probably University of Abuja.
University of Abuja. It was secretariat at the heart of the capital. And you say you have a government in place? Tend to remember there is no government in place in this country.
All right, one last question before you go. Will your party support restructuring if you eventually return to the center, and why?
Don't forget that it was under the PDP government that we had 2 conferences. Obasanjo did one political conference to collate ideas. He was never able to implement it before he left office. Unfortunately, Jonathan also, who convened a national conference, was never able
recommendations not implemented.
Recommendation, but that was I was at the handover as a minister when President Jonathan was handing over to President Buhari. After handing over all of documents, handed over that document to him, I said, this is the most important one. I'm handing over to you. I will advise that you study it and you implement the recommendations. Unfortunately, it was thrown to the dustbin. And that's why we have the tension now. So then, I think there is the general consensus among the political elite in this country that we need to tinker with this constitution. We need to find a way in which we can reduce tension at the center by giving more power to the states, to the federating units, to let them have more control over many aspects of things that affect their lives of their people. You see, the devolution of power is crucial in this country today. There is too much concentration of things in the federal level. And the federal government does not have the facts of what is going on in the states. I have been a minister, and I know these facts. That the federal government is not in a position to solve a lot of these problems. We better leave the solution to the states and let the states compete among themselves. Just as we had, just bring us back to the situation we had in the First Republic, in the days of Awolowo, Sardauna, Zik, when the regions were competing against themselves. When Awolowo decided to establish Premier Hotel, Sardauna will reply with Hamdallah, Zik will reply with Presidential. They were competing. Everybody was competing. And the country was going at a rapid rate, even without petroleum revenues. So this is the kind of thing people are asking for. I am from Ekiti State. Let my people, if they know that resources are available at the state level and many things have been developed to the state level, they will compare me with what is going on in Ekiti, with what is going on in those states, with what is going on in the Kwara, what is going on in Kogi, our neighboring states, and there will be healthy competition. That is enough to even put all the chief executives on their toes. Right now, everybody is complaining there is no money. Federal government is not giving us money. And the roads are federal roads. This one is federal. This one is federal. Everybody is saying it's federal. We can find a way to shift the blame. But when the responsibility is placed clearly at the soldiers of the states, then you will see that this country will move better.
Thank you. Thank you very much for finding time to come and share your thoughts with us. But that has been Prince Dayo Adeyeye. He is the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party Caretaker Committee, and we want to believe that at least we've been able to push some things to your understanding after the Supreme Court judgment. Once again, Dayo Adeyeye, thank you very much for coming on to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
I am Odion Bello. We want to believe that you had a nice time being part of the program. We want to invite you to join us again tomorrow. Bye for now.